What's good, Knicks Nation? It's your boy JayKnick checking in for my second Knicks State of the Union address. Just want to holler at you real quick. Just finished watching the game. Didn't get a chance to watch it live. Was running around busy and tried to watch it last night, but fell asleep on it. But the reality is, I finished watching the game, scratching my head, kind of tripping, trying to figure out what was the real deal. Not because we lost a game that we actually should have won, could have won, and should have won. But I was actually just trying to see why everybody was really flipping, talking about coach cost us another game. Coach didn't draw up no plays for Crispy. Coach didn't do this. Coach didn't do that. But the reality is, watch this. When are we going to hold the players accountable for what they do and what they don't do on the court? Coach is not a player no more. He's no longer the point guard. He's not on the floor playing. He's sending the plays out. He's running it from that point of view. And the reality is, I believe the players are the ones that cost us this game, especially this game. And the reason why I say that is this. Because once Crispy came back into the game, he was doing his thing earlier. The boy was balling. But the reality is his teammates totally did not get him involved. Totally did not look for him. There was a few times where he was wide open and they missed him. Affleck, one point, missed him top of the key and gave it to Thomas in the corner. There was a couple of times where him and Thomas, Affleck and Thomas both, jacking up shots, crazy shots, trying to be the mans. And I understand it because you just dropped 24, Thomas, in the last game. Affleck, I know you try to be the veteran on the floor, and Melo's out, and you've stepped up when Melo's been out, and you've stepped up in a few games to help us win. But getting away from the team concept, getting away from using that big 7'3" dude that you got on your team, and he's a mismatch any given night against anybody, it don't matter who. But the reality is this too. You have to understand that Crispy is still only a 20-year-old rookie. He has not developed the mentality of commanding and demanding that ball and saying, give me the ball, get out of my way, I'm taking over the game. He's not there yet. Eventually he'll get there because you can see his confidence. He has confidence, he has the game, and he has the skill set. But he's not Melo. He hasn't developed that mindset yet. So he's just coming in running the plays. He's just coming in running, the offense. Because there was a few times where he could have took the shot. Didn't force it, wide open, top of the key, but he kept the ball moving. There was one time where he gave Affleck a nice pocket pass, bounce pass, it was a score. So once Affleck seemed like he started heating up, what do? You go with the high hand. And what do we say? Why they ain't stick with Affleck? He was getting hot. He was getting hot. He was getting hot. And then if you go where else, then, why we ain't stay with the hot hand? But where they messed up at, to me, where Affleck messed up is, he was started jacking up shots, which you can sort of understand, because once he started owning Shump, then they started allowing Shump to be more aggressive and getting away with fouling him without calling the fouls. So what did Affleck do? He went out to the three-point line instead of kept trying to force the hand, which probably would have either continued to either end up in turnovers, or we would have been saying, oh, he's forcing it too much. So he tried to go out and tried to hit shots, but they was clanking them and banking them, and not thanking them, as what's the name would say. But the reality is, there was a couple of plays that I would like to point out. One where Thomas was inbounding the ball, and it looked like Crispy was coming off a curve, so we don't know what the play was that Coach Fish called, but it looked like he was trying to get it to Crispy, but it was a bad pass, and it ended up turning into a turnover and a fast break for Cleveland. So we don't know what that play was. There was one play where Thomas once again took it out, and he got the ball right back, but instead of keeping the ball movement with 22 or 23 seconds left on the clock, he jacked up a three-pointer. Now, if he would have hit it, we would have been like, cool, great shot, bow, bang. He hit another big shot. But, dude, with 22, 23 seconds left, when you battling, you win this game, and you jack up a shot like that, that wasn't the time for that. And I'm pretty sure that that's not the play that Fish called. But, unfortunately, that's on the players. That's not Fish. Now, you could say, oh, well, they ain't listening to him. He lost the team. No, not necessarily. The reality is these cats figure, they've hit big shots before. They done help us win games. They won games for us. Affleck done hit big shots. He won games for us. And the reality is they was trying to take it upon themselves to bring it home. But the reality is when you do that, especially one player or two players, then you forget about the other three guys that you got on the court. Mainly that big 7'3" Crispy dude that been getting busy all night. So the reality is, I think they messed it up more than Coach Fish. Now, I know a lot of people just don't like him, but the reality is I'm looking at this year being his first year coaching. Last year's debacle, I don't even know if a seasoned coach could have did anything with that. Once Phil blew up the team, brought in the new guys that he brought in, they started balling hard, they was learning, they was working, and it is what it is. Last year's debacle was last year's debacle. But if you don't realize that we have a better team and we're only 3 wins away from getting our total win that we had last year, if you don't realize we got a better team and that we're still better, it's all good. That's your prerogative. But the reality is we can't be not beefing and not saying much when we're on a 4-game winning streak, and then the minute we lose a game, oh, Coach Fish got to go, oh, this, that, and the third. I know Calderon's slow. I know he's, slow of foot, and he's still been kind of balling to a degree, hitting shots, scoring, and he has some defensive deficiencies and he's slow. So the reality is, if y'all beefing about him being slow with the starting unit, which is already slow because we're not that run and gun with the starting unit, the answer is to put him on the bench with the run and gun team, the faster team. Which the defensive deficiency will even become more glaring, and his slowness will become even more glaring because we know Grant's not ready just yet, and the trade talk with him is crazy because you can see he has the potential, but that's been our problem. We ain't taking the time to develop a team, to develop our players. We want to win now. The window's not closing as fast as y'all think it is. We done did that win now for the past, since the last time we won a chip, so you think the Band-Aid, the quick fix, bringing in guys past their prime or bringing in guys off of the injuries is still not the answer because it hasn't worked. So the process that we're going through now to change the culture, to change it from losing to a winning culture, it takes time. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Phil has a plan. Let it work. Trust. If he sees the need for a trade, he'll do it. I'm just hoping that it won't cost us too much because, okay, everybody's saying Conley. You go after Conley, what is it going to cost us? Is it going to cost us some key bench players? Is it going to cost us some key chemistry guys? So just because he's a better point guard doesn't mean he's a better fit for the team. Just because it looks good on the paper and on the chalkboard doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work good on the court, because we've seen that in the past by other teams. Oh, they's a bomb squad and they still ain't getting nothing done. They still didn't win. They still didn't work because it takes chemistry. So yes, I know a lot of people feel Jose is a problem right now and he's slow. But guess what? At this point, it is what it is. If Phil see the need to make a change, trust he's going to make it. I just hope it doesn't cost us too much. So we got guys that's balling, they learning. Coach Fisher's trying to get it together. He's learning as he go. And a lot of y'all figure, oh, we need somebody this season. We need somebody. Yeah, I might agree with that, but it is what it is. The man got a 5-year contract going into his 2nd year. 3 more. Most coaches start now, and even those with experience struggle. So can you imagine him learn it? Come on, it takes time to get it all together. And just because you have a better team doesn't mean that makes it easier for any coach, seasoned or rookie. Because now you got to work the minutes, who's getting minutes, who's getting left out, who works well together chemistry wise. It takes work to figure it all out. We only 30 games into 82 game season. There's 52 games left. We still can make the playoffs. We can still ball out. And the reality is, it's still early. You don't want to hear that. It really is. It's only 30 games in. But we the most schizophrenic fans ever. 1 minute we good, the next minute the sky's falling. The Chicken Little. Come on, y'all. Just relax. Breathe. It's all good. We're going to be all right. We're improving. You can see it. It's improving. The culture's changing. It takes time to turn this thing around. And I think the reality is, once we get everybody healthy and once everybody really start clicking and they figure out the rotation, they figure out who really fits best together, and coach get his substitutions right and his decision right, it's going to be all right, my peoples. Trust, it's going to be good. But the reality is, putting Jose, okay, some people say maybe Gallo. I can understand Gallo because he's ran the team before. But I don't think the answer is putting Jose on the bench. That will hurt us more than keeping him in the starting unit. And until we make any changes, it is what it is. Everybody flipping and going at each other. We all Knicks fans. We all want the same thing. We all thirsty. We all bleeding. I've been a Knicks fan since Bernard King playing days. 32 years of counting. So you know I'm bleeding. This cat's been Knicks fans longer than that. So you know we bleeding. You know we starving. We hungry. We thirsty. But doing stuff rash and doing stuff brash and doing stuff just to be doing it and doing stuff without... Okay, watch this. If we keep playing and getting better and improving, especially if we make it to the playoffs. Now watch this. Without giving up anybody with the team that we have now, don't you think we have a better chance to adding a good point guard, adding free agents without having to give up too much, without breaking up the chemistry, without breaking up the team that's looking like they really came here to play as a unit, even though they make mistakes here and there, even though coach make mistakes here and there? Guess what? That is part of the game. Everybody gonna miss assignments. Come on. Even the upper echelon teams do. They do it. So with us trying to come up after last season, you think we're not going to go through that learning process, that growing process, that chemistry process as it's developing? It takes time. You don't always trade for a contender. You might get a piece or two here, but you have to build a contender. You think the Spurs didn't get that far without building it first? They had to build it. So the reality is, this is where we at. It takes time. We got to make this thing happen. Everybody going crazy for no reason at all. Trust me, it takes time. And I think we're on the right track. But the reality is, you just got to relax and let it play itself out. It's not going to work any other way. You're going crazy. You're flipping about coach. You're flipping about this player, that player, losing to this team. There's some teams we've beat that we probably shouldn't have beat. There was teams we lost to we probably shouldn't have lost to. It's going to happen. Any given night, even the most bummish team might still have one or two guys on it that still can put up stats, still can ball. Why? Because this is the NBA. But it takes time. It's a process. And I believe we're on the right track to get it happen. And the most important thing, Dolan's not even involved no more. When was the last time you even really heard his name? So Phil is doing his thing. Let the team do his thing. Let the coaches do his thing. From Phil on down to the last man on the bench on up. It takes all of it to make it happen. And I think we're going to get it done. It just takes time. It just takes patience. And we're going to make it happen. It's your boy JayKnick. Just wanted to holler at you. Peace.